Some villains are badder than others. Some just want to watch the world burn before they change their tune and save the day. Yeah, you heard that right. Some anime villains actually end up saving the day for our heroes. While the baddies on this list may have wanted to kill the hero or heroes at some point, they joined up with them in the end to take down an even greater threat. Frieza's an interesting candidate when it comes to the bad guy gone good. It's not really fair to call Frieza a good guy when in the past, he was pure evil. Let's just go through a short rundown of all the evil things he's done. Well, let's see. He enslaved and destroyed the Saiyans, destroyed Namek, killed Krillin, and has sworn to destroy Goku and the Earth. Honestly, there's nothing to really redeem Frieza and make him a true blue good guy. But in Dragon Ball Super, he fought alongside Goku for the sake of self-interest in the Tournament of Power. It was really more of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and also if we lost, the entire universe is destroyed, so we might as well work together for now to save it kind of situation. Whatever his motivations were, Frieza powered up, stepped to the plate, and played the good guy for a change. Sticking with Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta was one of the original bad guy gone good in anime way back in the 1990s. For longtime fans of the show, Vegeta started as a villain sent to Earth to get the Dragon Balls, and in the process, he and his compatriot Nappa killed the supporting cast of DBZ, along with the Bug Planet, where Vegeta spent time in prison. The progression of events after the Saiyan saga is kind of weird. Vegeta arrives on Namek, where he and Goku form a strange, if not strained, alliance to defeat Frieza. After that, he returns to Earth, where he becomes Goku's rival, vowing to one day surpass him. In the process, he has a kid with Bulma, starts a family, and soon the hardened prince of all Saiyans becomes one of the Earth's mightiest defenders. From destroyer of worlds to questionable parent, Vegeta's the OG rival and anti-hero we need. A favorite from the Naruto fanbase, Gaara was perhaps the biggest antagonist of the Chunin exams. You know, if you don't count Orochimaru. This raccoon-eyed little psychopath had an amazing ability to control and manipulate sand, which may not seem like a lot, but when you're buried in sand and then crushed with enough force to break your ribcage, it's more than enough to instill fear in some people. Perhaps two of the most famous scenes in the original Naruto both had Gaara as the focus, the fight against Brock Lee, and the other where he saves him. However, between these 2 points, Gaara takes a role in a plot to destroy the Leaf Village with his powers, and the beast that dwells within. Similar to Naruto, Gaara also has a tailed beast within him. Amazingly though, Naruto and Gaara bond over their shared burdens, and actually have similar goals in mind. In the tradition of pint-sized baddies, Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho shares a lot of similarities with Vegeta. Some might say the characters are pretty much the same. However, Hiei's motivations are a lot more basic than Vegeta's. When he's not preoccupying himself with belittling Kurubara, he's often seen at a distance from anyone else, and keeps to himself most of the time. Out of the entire team, he has the most confirmed kills, often promising death upon his opponent regardless of age or gender. Despite his rough upbringing, Hiei has managed a few positive relationships, mostly as a rival to Yusuke. While normally Hiei would rather tear humans apart than help them, it was part of his parole that he help Yusuke and the gang on a case to save Hiei's sister Yukina. From there, Hiei has tagged along to help Yusuke and the rest of the gang, even though he acts like it's a bother. Scar's path of violence and vengeance in Full Metal Brotherhood was more or less thrust upon him. However, it still doesn't absolve him of responsibility. In Brotherhood, Scar's a rogue Ishvalan monk who's taken it upon himself to kill any and all state alchemists. While Scar might think his path of violence is justified, he's taken innocent lives, and not just state alchemists. It's later revealed that he was the one who killed Winry Rockbell's parents. They were doctors stationed on Ishval and helped anyone who was injured, and Scar killed them in cold blood. Realizing he'd brought this upon himself, Scar accepts his fate, but fate has other plans. When the true motivations for Ishvalan genocide are revealed, Scar abandons his plan to take out state alchemists, and instead teams up with the Elric brothers to take down the homunculi. It may not redeem him, but it's just one bit of good he can do. There are a number of characters in Fairy Tail who've turned from bad to good, but perhaps the most notable of them is Gajeel Red Fox. This metal-breathing dragon slayer mage began as a cold and uncaring rival of Fairy Tail, instigating the guild simply because he saw them as enemies due to their longtime rivalry with Phantom Lord. After Gajeel attacks Levi and her friends, the rest of Fairy Tail declares war on Phantom Lord. Oddly enough, after it's all said and done, Gajeel shows his loyalty to Fairy Tail, betrayal, revealing that he's genuinely and completely loyal to whatever guild he's affiliated with. Soon after being in Fairy Tail, Gajeel begins to mend things with Levi for attacking her and pinning her to a tree. A weird sort of romance between the two takes place over course of the show, but seeing as it's an anime, the two merely flirt until the heat death of the universe. This next one is kind of tricky, and not just because people often mistakenly called Krona a girl or a boy. No, this one is confusing because the outcome of this character depends on whether you read the Soul Eater manga or just watched the anime. If you only watched the anime, then prepare to have the manga spoiled. But first, anime Krona and manga Krona begin the same, by being browbeaten into being murderers by Medusa. Like a lot of villains in anime, Krona didn't start out evil, but was turned evil after years and years of abuse. The end result was that Krona was now a submissive yet psychotic killer, until Maka enters the picture. With her help, she eventually helps Krona into seeing Medusa for what she is, evil and abusive. Of course, the manga doesn't end like that. For Krona, there's no happy ending. Krona ends up absorbing the Kishin Asura and threatens to destroy the world. Viral from Gurren Lagann's path to the good guy's side is a long one, taking almost the entire series for him to turn good. When we first meet Viral, he's a part of the Human Extermination Squad. Throughout the first season or two, he's a main adversary to Kamina and the group. It's not until the Human Rebellion overtakes the Spiral King that things begin to change. During this arc, Viral's told that Beastmen were made to be imperfect compared to humans. This shatters his previous belief that Beastmen were superior. Additionally, after Viral's thrown in jail and berated by his former comrades, he has a change of heart, thinking that perhaps humans aren't the inferior species he once thought they were. He'd then go on to help the remaining members of Gurren Lagann to take on the anti-Spiral invaders. From human exterminator to human ally, Viral shows that a change of heart can cross species. Frankie for One Piece has it all. He's got big guns and even bigger guns. Yet those dwarf his ego in regard to his ability to craft and his power. Frankie's now known as the engineer and shipwright of the Straw Hat Pirates, but he started out hating them and what they stood for. In One Piece, like Dragon Ball Z, oftentimes a rival or enemy will eventually become an ally. However, Frankie and his gang wanted all-out war with the Straw Hats, starting it all by beating the crap out of Usopp. However, as the old saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and when Frankie's tied in with the plot of CP9, he has no choice but to rely on the Straw Hats to save him. Begrudgingly at first, Frankie joins the crew, and has been a loyal member since building them a new ship to replace the Going Merry. It would only make sense that an entity who wants nothing more than everything in the whole wide world would be kind of a bad guy. Greed from Full Metal Brotherhood is just that. Greedy. He wants true immortality, women, money, and power. He'll do anything and kill anyone to get what he wants. Which is an odd segue into how Greed turns out to be kind of a good guy in the show. Sure, he takes over Ling's body in order to give him pseudo-immortality. Even his friends are just his possessions to him. Although that's later shown to be a lie when he cries at the memory of losing them. So in this kind of shared interest, Greed agrees to go against Father and try and put a stop to his deeds. And in return, he'll attain the entire world. As it turns out, although Greed doesn't get to claim the world that's rightfully his, deep down, he probably knew it was. Who knew the biggest jerk in anime would be a millionaire brat with way too much money and an affinity for card games? Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! Reminds us of a lot of people growing up. The rich snobby kid, the schoolyard bully, and the rival all wrapped up into one. For the whole series, Kaiba had one goal in mind: to defeat Yugi, or more specifically, the Pharaoh. Kaiba doesn't believe in the magic that sometimes quite literally surrounds him. He's stubborn to a fault, and only looks out for himself and his younger brother Mokuba, in that order. Although if there is one thing Kaiba hates more than Yugi, or Joey for that matter, it's the idea of someone trying to one-up him. Through the sheer force of his ego, Kaiba ends up saving the world on more than one occasion, just so he can be the one to finally beat Yugi, which he never does. For this entry, we have 2 for the price of 1. The androids in Dragon Ball Z were a menace in a lot of timelines, but can we really call them villains? Androids 17 and 18 were 2 kids kidnapped by Dr. Gero and turned into 2 of the most powerful androids that he's created in order to kill Goku, excluding Cell because he's biomechanical. When they decide to take matters into their own hands and kill the good doctor, the androids decide the name of the game is to kill Son Goku, but now it's merely for the fun of it. In Trunks' timeline, they end up killing Goku Goku and turning the entire world into their playground. However, the future's not set in stone. After Cell's defeated, Krillin wishes the bomb out of Android 18, winning her over and even marrying her. Android 17 comes back to set things right in the Tournament of Power to wish the other universes back. And for unlucky number 13, we're hitting you with 13 characters. Blam! We're cramming in all 13 court guard captains from Bleach. Back in Season 2, Rukia was brought back to the Soul Society for the awful crime of giving her power to some kid to be a Soul Reaper. For this crime, she was to be put to death. Yeah, harsh times, right? In any case, Ichigo and the gang have to save her. Well, to be fair, it's more like Ichigo has to do all the hard work and the gang's just there for moral support. Of course, to make the execution go as planned, all 13 court guard captains make it their mission to kill them. Of course, soon after this whole thing blows over and an actual villain appears, they kind of forget all about that and rely on Ichigo to stop Aizen. Does Ichigo ever bring that up? Does anybody even care? Leave it to anime to have a hardline dictator pull off 6-inch heels and a battle thong. Kill la Kill is Studio Trigger's weirdest show, and that's saying something with what they've released since. Still, it mainly centers around two feuding ladies, Ryuko Matoi and Satsuki Kiryuin. And if you think they'll let you forget that, don't fear. They say each other's names as often as Kagome and Inuyasha. Nevertheless, the two represent two opposing ideals, two ideologies and ways of life that can only be solved with one thing: battle thongs. Lots and lots of scenes with them fighting in battle thongs. TNA aside, when the actual plot comes to stir some drama between the two, the hardened rivals soon discover that they're in fact sisters. When their crazy and not all that well-adjusted mother tries to take over the world, the two decide to set their sights on the bigger target. We're gonna drop all pretense here. Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter gives us Stranger Danger vibes. Is it the clown motif, the feminine way he moves and talks, or is it the fact that he's aroused by fighting a child? The answer may surprise you. Hisoka's an odd fellow in more ways than one, the most relevant being that he jumps the line between villain, antagonist, and just all-around stalker. While he has an interest in Gon and Killua, he's not in a hurry to help them when they're in danger. However, in his fight with Gon, Hisoka relishes the power Gon puts out. You could say that Hisoka's whole theme is to toy with people and especially strong fighters. Yet, Hisoka has helped the boys out when they needed it. Most notably, he helped them win against Razor in a dodgeball match on Greed Island. Whether you want to call him an anti-hero or a tormentor, just keep him far away from us. Younger fans of Dragon Ball may be a bit shocked to find out that Piccolo was in fact a bad guy at first. To be fair, he wasn't that bad of a guy in Dragon Ball Z, but rather in Dragon Ball. This was back when Piccolo was a demon of some kind, rather than a slugman, which is a whole lot less cool. In any case, King Piccolo and Piccolo, confusing, we know, were hell-bent on taking over the world. Among their many evil deeds, they killed Krillin, which may not be too original, but he did do it before Frieza made it cool, or at least Tambourine did it. Goku confronted the demon people at the time and ended up killing King Piccolo. At the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo's not quite a good guy, but at the very least he helps Goku kill Raditz, even though it kills Goku in the process. Whatever Piccolo might have been in the past, he's now a loyal friend and a great father figure to Gohan. Have you ever met that one person who you swear is up to no good? You just get that feeling they can't be trusted, and they must be eliminated before they can do any damage. Well, you probably need to be more trusting of other people, and not be like Nishio Nishiki from Tokyo Ghoul. Now, for better or worse, Nishio had a pretty hard grudge against Kaneki. At first, he thought Kaneki was trying to muscle in on his feeding ground as a power move. However, after Kaneki mortally wounds him, the hatred really bubbles out. Nishio maintains this hatred for quite a while, until Kaneki helps save Nishio's girlfriend. After that, he has a change of heart and joins Antiku and even becomes close friends with Kaneki. It just goes to show that anything can be put behind you, even several mortally fatal stab wounds to the chest, as long as you save the dude's girlfriend. Digimon was a lot of things to a lot of people. In Season 2, we were introduced to the Digimon Emperor, a menacing title for a snotty little kid who used evil methods to control Digimon and do general evil things. The Digimon Emperor, whose real name is Ken Ichijoji, had a less than happy past. Living in the shadow of his brother Sam, Ken usually felt ignored by his parents, who seemed to favor Sam because he was the prodigy. One day, Ken makes a wish to himself that Sam would just disappear, which of course he soon did when he got hit by a car and died. died. Soon after the tragedy, Ken is taken to D3 and told to put his Digivice into the Dark Ocean, transforming it and him for the worst. Of course, like a bad episode of Gilligan's Island, Ken gets amnesia after his bout as the Emperor and completely forgets his acts. Later, he'd try and atone for his mistakes and live a better life. How does that saying go? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain? Something like that. Well, anyway, sometimes this is kind of done in reverse, like with the case of Obito Uchiha in Naruto Shippuden. So, Obito was thought to have died during the Third Shinobi War, where he entrusted his Sharingan, or Super Special Eye, to Kakashi. Surprise, but not really, Obito was actually alive and has this super awesome plan to remake the world according to Madara Uchiha, the one who saved him from certain death. In order to accomplish this, Obito, now Toby, manipulated the Akatsuki to basically start the Fourth Shinobi War. However, near the war's end, Obito has a change of heart and even sacrifices himself to help stop the world he so desperately wanted to change. Well, you either die a hero or live long enough to continue to be the villain you were before, we guess. Last but certainly not least, we have Teruki Hanazawa from Mob Psycho 100. This kid starts out as your average bratty teen who has everything you could ever want. He uses said powers just as you'd expect a kid like him to use them, to get those ladies. In Black Vinegar Middle School, Hanazawa easily takes control of several gangs of delinquents to do his bidding. During a dispute between Black Vinegar and Salt Middle School, Mob steps in to settle things, telling Hanazawa not to use his powers to hurt people. The two naturally have a psychic battle so epic, it's shocking Hanazawa only leaves with damaged hair. However, he soon learns that he's not the only one with powers. In fact, he's not even the strongest one with powers. This revelation humbles him, and when his brother's in danger later on in the show, he's right there to help in a more positive way. And those were just some of the anime villains who turn towards the light side. Do you agree with our list? Are there any anime characters we might have missed? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more anime content. Thanks for watching!